Well, hello and welcome. I'm Colin Daniel from riffninja.com, and this is lesson number 3 out of a series of 3 lessons. And we've been talking about the triplet feel. First lesson, I covered just straight 8th triplets. Second lesson was 16th note triplets, and now we're into the dotted 8th note. What? Dotted 8th note? What's that? A dotted 8th note is one long note and one short note. And technically, when you write it out in music notation, what you get is you get 1/8 note in standard music notation with a dot in front of the note head, and then right after it, beamed together, you have a 16th note. And the reason why they do it that way is because when you're writing music, all of your music notation is grouped into beats. Since we're discussing a 4/4 time signature, we have 4 beats to a bar, which is how we measure music in bars or measures. That's why they call it a bar or a measure, because we're measuring music. We're measuring the flow of music. It's a way to communicate it, right? It's not a perfect system, but it's a way of communicating it. So we have one long and one short because we've got the 8th note with the dot in front of the head, and then we got a 16th note right after that. So you got this long and short thing. And they count a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And the reason why they count it that way is because your 1 beat is the 8th note with the dot. The 8th note with the dot is equivalent to 3 16th notes, the first 3 16th notes in your beat. When you have a full beat in 4/4, you have 1 quarter note for each beat. That means that you have 4 16th notes to each complete quarter note beat. And this is the fractioning that we're working off of. So what we're really doing is we're in our first stroke or our first rhythm, the dotted 8th rhythm, the strum, we're using the dotted 8th, and that's the long note, the long beat, the long note, whatever you want to call it, right? And the short one is on an upstroke, and it's a little late. It feels like it's late. It's not, though, because it's the last note before you start the next beat again. And a lot of beginners get confused about this. You're really counting the first 16th note or the first note and the last 16th note. You're going 1 instead of counting like a 16th note. So if you're going 16th notes, you're going 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and, you're playing groups of 4s. In the shuffle, you're going 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're counting the first 16th note and the last 16th note out of each beat. And in the end, you get this swing, this shuffle. The interesting thing about dotted 8th is it could work in straight time, like straight 8ths or straight 16ths, and it works in the odd time and the odd groupings of triplets and 6/8. Now, I didn't discuss anything about 6/8, but 6/8 and triplets are definitely related. And I don't want to get deep into that. That would be another study all on its own. But to complete this triplet study, the dotted 8th works really, really good with the triplet strum, and this is kind of the reason for this lesson, right? And so my point to that is that first thing you want to do is get the feel of this unequal time, because if you're playing a straight 8, you're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's nice and straight. It's what I call the white beat, okay? Because it's really straight and really stiff. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. The shuffle, the jazz beat, the blues beat is uneven. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. 1 long, 1 short. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2. And a lot of beginner students have this issue where they think the last 16th before the next beat is actually the start of the beat, but it's not. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That 16th note is just before the next beat. That's why I say it's a bit of a trick to get used to it. If you count out loud, because it works for drummers, it'll work for you. If you count out loud, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's an old saying called play it like you say it, right, for the drummer. Because you need to hear the rhythm in your head. before it kind of connects with the hands and gets you to, and you get your hands to do what they're supposed to do to get the feel of the beat. And the interesting thing about the shuffle or dotted eighth note, because it's the same thing, shuffle and dotted eighth note, really the dotted eighth note, which is the correct classical clinical term for it, the dotted eighth note creates a shuffle. That's more the slang term for it. A shuffle is a swing beat. They call it a swing beat. It's because it swings a little more. It has some swagger, right? And everybody feels this swing beat or this dotted eighth note. They feel it a little differently. That's the great thing about it. Some people have made their living just because they have a wonderful feel to that dotted eighth note, because there's a little bit of gray area there, moving room, you know. You got some elbow room there to interpret it a little bit with your own feel. So it's not incorrect in any way, right? But the trick is, this is the way I feel it. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And this is about as clinical as I can get. I'm not very relaxed when I'm playing it this way because I'm having to think about the rhythm for you students. But all the way through it, I'm going 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1. And that's what you need. That's why I just chose, for all three of these lessons, I chose an A 7th chord, A 7th bar chord. And the reason why I did that was just because it's in the middle of the guitar and it's a good key for blues. And the shuffle stuff is really related to blues. And I'm a bit of a blues freak. So, you know, I wanted to share that with you and elevate your playing and understand this rhythm, because it's a super important rhythm, right? A lot of people struggle with it. I have like 80% of my students that have an easy time going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and straight A, which I call a white beat. And the rest of them, at that 80%, when I get them onto this uneven beat, 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, they struggle with it. Now, I don't know what category you're in, but I'm telling you that most people have an easier time feeling the straight A's. If you have an easy time playing the shuffle and it comes naturally to you, that's great, but you'll probably find that the straight eights now are harder to differentiate between. You know, that you have difficulty doing that because you naturally feel it uneven, right? But, you know, going from straight eight to shuffle is very difficult because they really work against each other. It's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Yeah, I'm not teaching you a song here. I'm trying to teach you about this rhythm, right? If you can get the rhythm, you can apply it to any chord progression you want. And that's really my goal here today, is to demystify this shuffle thing. And in my years of teaching, I've seen a lot of people struggle with that. So this is why I'm going through that. Are you getting this? I hope you are. Okay, there's a couple more things. Stevie Ray Vaughan made the shuffle really popular. They call it a Texas shuffle in his song Pride and Joy. And I'll get to that in just a second, where I show you what he does with that. But I just want to be really clear on how this fractioning works, because if you can picture that in your mind, that there's one long, one short, and that's an uneven shuffle. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. And if you're playing straight eights, then it's equal down up strums. Yes, the up strum is weaker than the down strum. That's why when you're playing eighth notes, you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and your upstroke is always on the end, because it's obviously going to be weaker. Your 1, your 2, your 3, your 4 beats need to be stronger, right? They're the downstroke. You're working with gravity there. You need that to be stronger. Same with the shuffle. You want the down stroke on the 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the beats, and your ah's got to be on up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There are hundreds of songs that use this. Like I said, I can think of Stevie Ray Vaughan's Pride and Joy, and I'm not going to get into like the note for note transcription, but his basic rhythm, I call it a chug. His basic rhythm is based on the shuffle beat, but he doesn't play the downbeat. He only plays the upbeat. He mutes the downbeat. He goes mute for the down on the 1, and then presses his chord down and sounds it out for the ah. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, right? But it doesn't sound like much until you do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I'm really using my pick as a percussive device, and on my downstroke, I'm hitting the strings that belong to my chord, which is an E major chord here. You could do an A major easier here in a bar chord, and that was one of the reasons why I showed you that. A seventh chord, this A chord. It's easier to do the muted stroke because I can lift my bar off the strings and just have it sitting there on my first finger, and it mutes the whole 6 strings span of the guitar. And that way, when I do my downstroke, so I lift my bar off the fretboard on the downstroke and then press it back down on the upstroke. And if you watch, you'll see this hand here, this left hand, pressing down every time just before I do the upstroke. But the count is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And like I said, I was doing the same thing. It's a little trickier down here with the E chord because you've got some open strings and you got to learn to mute them with the right hand edge of the palm. So I have to use both my mutes to really get it. But yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan used it in a 12 bar like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, that's a straight 12 bar with a muted stroke. The mute is on the downstroke every time, on the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. The chord is sounded out on the ah of each beat on the upstroke. And that's how you get that Texas shuffle thing, the dotted eighth. Well, thank you for your time. And I hope that this has enlightened you and made you a better guitar player, because that is the reason for this lesson. If you'd like to find out more about me, come and see me at riffninja.com. All right, take care. See you later.